This is The Line with Tatevik Aprikyan.
So take us back to the Perez of the early 2000s. Look, why were you so mean? Was it kind of like a drug for you and this addiction for attention? What made you do what you did?
It was like, I was like a Pavlovian dog. That doesn't make sense. I was a dog, and that Pavlov's theory that you could train somebody. I take full accountability for what I did. I blame myself. I was an adult when I did what I did. I can't even say, oh, I was so young, I was a child. I wasn't. But I saw, because when I first started out, it wasn't just nasty, mean, negative. It was everything. I had the people that I liked, and throughout my career, it was like that as well. But of course, the most shocking, salacious, scandalous, most biting would always get the biggest reaction. So I saw, oh, wow, if I really just go in towards this person, that will get a big response. And I wanted big responses.
So let's talk about that. In the chapter of your book called The Change, you talk about several incidents that led to this realization that you needed to make a change, right? So you said it wasn't just a handful of people who disliked what I did. It was an overwhelming majority. I finally understood the things I wrote genuinely hurt people and deeply. So I'm curious, what have you done to repair that damage?
I think, well, clearly trying to make personal amends with people, which I've done. I've reached out to a bunch of people. Some
have they taken it well?
Yeah, some have and some haven't, and that's okay. And then in addition to that, I think just operating differently as well, like showing people, listen, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I didn't. I'm still doing what I used to, but I'm just doing it differently.
Was there an aha moment for you that it just kind of clicked? Like, I need to be, forgive me for putting it bluntly, but a better person and not treat people so mean?
Yeah, there was an aha moment. I'm an Otheist. I love Oprah, so I speak in that lingo as well. Because what you mentioned prior, I had deluded myself into the quote that you read. I had deluded myself into thinking, well, a lot of people really are enjoying what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And I kind of buried in the back of my mind or didn't want to face that most people did not like me. And actually, I like being honest. All these years later, most people still don't like me. And that's also a valuable lesson. If you are a punk, or I would have used stronger language, if you're a punk when you're young, that could haunt you for the rest of your life. It's that expression about, first impressions, they last. But in the fall of 2010, there was this rash of gay teenagers who died by suicide. And thank God we've not seen anything like that since then. In a span of 3 months, over 24 died tragically that way. This journalist named Dan Savage created this campaign, very simple in concept, called It Gets Better. It was older folks making videos, sharing their stories and talking directly towards the youth. And the very same day that he launched that campaign, I got a press release. I found out about it and I made an It Gets Better video. I think I was the first public figure or personality to make an It Gets Better video. And I thought to myself, wow, in this time of darkness, I'm doing something to spread light and positivity. But people did not receive it that way. Almost every single comment held me accountable. They said, how dare you make an It Gets Better video? You're a hypocrite. You're a bully. You are part of the problem. And that really was my Oprah aha moment. I said, wow, I know that in my heart, this is not who I was or who I am, but it is who I became. It is who I was in that moment. So I needed to align my public self with my private self and make this change.
How do you explain all of this to your children? Do you focus on mistakes that we all make in life and that you can redeem yourself and grow into a different person? I'm curious how you will approach that with your children as they grow up.
Well, I talk about it in age-appropriate ways,
Sure.
but I've already started to have the conversations because they know who I am and the many things that I do, and they are aware. And I think this is a good lesson for actually any child, because let's face it, 99% of children are going to grow up to be adults who have social media. So even at their young ages now, my kids are 8, 6, and 4, I tell them, and they know, a lot of people don't like your dad. And, I share my life on social media and they're a big part of my life. And something like the other day, my daughter said to me, the video you posted of me playing piano got more likes than my brother's video playing piano. So, I've already had conversations about likes don't really mean much. It doesn't matter. And, some people might say negative things about you. That should not matter to you either, And it, to me, I genuinely do not care what anybody has to say about me that is negative, because why? It's a choice to let that affect you, and I choose not to let it affect me.
So final question here before I let you go. If it was all up to you, you had a magic wand you could wave around, what would you change about the internet?
Oh God, if I had a magic wand, I would just get rid of all social media. I don't think it serves us. And I say this as somebody whose entire career is thanks to social media. I feel lucky that I'm old enough to remember days when I didn't have a cell phone that had Wi-Fi. We are all not all of us, but a lot of us, most of us, addicted to social media and constantly checking whatever platforms their favorites might be. I don't know how healthy that is for us. I dream of a future for myself free of social media.
What an interesting answer. I was not expecting you to go the social media route with that. Perez Hilton, thank you so much for joining us. I think this conversation is going to open up a lot of people's eyes and see a different side of the Perez Hilton that we all knew from decades ago. So thank you so much for coming on The Why and taking the time to have this conversation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.